very happy to have you with us on our Wednesday edition. Fightnwords work, of course, as always. I'm Don Henderson. We're over with you every Wednesday night from 7 until 9 o'clock. Tonight we're going to be a little bit on the shorter side because of the holidays. A lot of folks are out traveling around, but we will be with you to at least 8 o'clock, 8:30, and we'll continue as always. And Roy Cummings is in his normal spot as he gets ready to talk a little bit about the world of hockey, which I'll tell you, the National Hockey League we've talked a lot about in the last couple of weeks, and we'll talk a lot more about it tonight. Roger Hender's in Atlanta. He'll get what's going on in the Atlanta area as far as baseball and so forth. I will tell you the Phillies did shut out San Diego again this afternoon, and they're a little bit of a winning streak right now. Got back over the 500 plateau, 3-0 out in San Diego, and they head for Dodger Stadium. Minnesota came back in the ninth inning, or Milwaukee, I should say, came back in the ninth inning, and they won this afternoon. I think it was 2-1. I'm not sure, but let's get to the world of hockey first. Roy.
Hey Don, we have a dedication.
Oh, that's right. We got to do dedication. Okay, go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, tonight's program is dedicated to dedicate and celebrate two young men who have had, have hit a wall, gone through the wall, smashed to pieces. Mr. Ty Anthony Basso graduates from University of South Florida, is now heading to medical school, following in the footsteps and encouraged by encouraging support of his mother, a single parent, Dr. Kathleen Marie Carroll. And his brother, Brady Basso, graduated from the Southern Florida College and is now heading to the University of South Florida College of Engineering. We want to congratulate both boys from all of our staff here. Both of them work on the Saturday night show also. From a very proud parent and grandparent. The world is your apple, boys. I know you'll make a difference.
Well, certainly congratulations from all of us, Frank. We chatted about it just before we went on the air, and I know you got to be so proud of those two young men, and we wish them nothing but the best as they carry on. But they're certainly off to a great start, and everything's right in front of them. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll head down to Tampa, Florida now. Roy Cummings is with us. Roy, before I start talking about what's happening in the National Hockey League, Tommy Gilbert, one of the players, is one of the people that started this program years ago and was a great hockey fan, worked for the Lightning for so many years, and was a great friend of the coach that's now the coach of the last 25 games and is now going to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I just want to give Tommy a little bit of a shout out. Wherever he may be at the moment, he passed away, but he's always going to be remembered on this show, Roy.
Oh, he sure is. I think of Tommy every day, guys. Certainly never more so than during hockey season, which he loved so much. And yeah, he and John Tortorella had a special relationship. Hey, you know what? Everybody with the Lightning organization had a special relationship with Tommy. He was well loved, beloved man in that organization, throughout that organization, with everybody. And you know what? He was just as tight with Marty St. Louis. So, there's a lot of people out there, I think, that are kind of quietly, maybe not even quietly, kind of hoping for a John Tortorella, Marty St. Louis matchup in the Stanley Cup Finals, and we're halfway there with Torts. Just incredible job that he's done bringing the Vegas Golden back from, near death, it seemed. I mean, let's face it, they were 10th overall in the NHL in the standings, or in the conference, rather, and he got them there. He got them to the playoffs, and look what they've done since, and now they have a chance to play for the Stanley Cup. And you know what's amazing? And this, this happens a little bit in the NHL, but for Vegas to come together and then to continue to improve throughout the playoffs so far, and then to be so dominant and sweep Colorado, which, I think I've mentioned here a couple of times. They're like the perfect team. The goaltending is maybe a bit suspect, but that might be the one weakness. But they have everything else. Arguably the best defenseman in the league in Cale Makar, certainly one of the biggest, best goal scorers, and McKinnon, and just so many solid pieces around him. Martin Natchez, who had 100 points this year. Just a really, really good, solid, well-coached hockey team, good at everything. And for Vegas to come in and just take them out 4 in a row just speaks to what a tremendous job John Tortorella and everybody on that team has done in coming together and pulling on the same rope in the same direction once the playoffs started, because they've been and for them the playoffs started about with about 15 games to play in the regular season. They had to win a lot just to get there to the postseason, and once they got there, they have been absolutely dominant. So it's been great hockey that they've provided everybody, and it's going to continue through the Stanley Cup Finals. I'll tell you what, that's a team that you want to get to the finals, but boy, the way that team's playing, you got to think that you might be up against them for sure. So we'll see how it goes. But right now, a lot of people celebrating the Vegas Golden Knights, which, by the way, arguably the best expansion franchise in the history of sports. I mean, they're in their 4th Stanley Cup final now. They've been around for 9 seasons, guys. It seems like they're perennially, in the mix in the Stanley Cup, and they just started, less than 10 years ago. So it's really a remarkable story what's going on in Vegas. And in addition to all that, they've proven that you can have top-level sports in that city, and it can thrive for sure. So it's been a real treat for hockey fans to see the Vegas Golden Knights grow and thrive through their first few seasons here.
Well, first of all, 2 other points. One being that the lowest number of wins in the regular season since Carolina did it, and that was a long time ago. I think their win total was 39, and Carolina was 39, like 15 years ago. And, of course, Carolina's been the dominant team over the last 2 or 3 years. And to just take them and put them on the sidelines as dramatically as they did. The second thing is the Tort came in, he's 24-4. Or was, I think he's now 25-4, I believe, after last night's win. The other thing is he was sitting home with his shed last night, and one that you can comment too, Roy. And one thing that brings up Tommy Gilbert as well, because Tort loved to get on Tommy in post-game press conferences and so forth. But for those people that were watching last night, Tort came on. He did a post-game interview. He talked about his players. He talked about himself. He talked about being home with his grandkids, guarding the grandkids. Never expected a telephone call 25 games ago, and here he is in the Stanley Cup final. Quite dramatic for Tortorella after the game was over.
Yeah, guys, I mean, it was literally a Hail Mary pass. I mean, the Vegas was out of it. It looked like they were going to miss the playoffs. Their owner thought, we've got too much talent here to let this slip. We're better than this. I need somebody that's going to shake this team up. And you brought in John Tortorella, who is in my opinion, a perfect fit for that hockey team. The reason I say that is it's not a bunch of young kids. There's a few, but it's mostly a veteran group. It's a group of guys who know the game. They've been around. They've been with good coaches, been with bad coaches. They've been in good organizations, bad organizations. They're hungry, and they're better than what they were showing. And they just needed someone to kind of put it all together and give them some direction, really, and give them a purpose and just kind of fine-tune some things, primarily in the defensive game. And that's what Torts does. He comes in there, he demands a lot out of guys. I mean, he wants you blocking shots with your face if that's necessary. Everything is for the victory. Everything is for the team. Nobody works individually on a John Tortorella team. You buy into the entire system. It's not difficult. It's pretty simple, really, when you think about it. But it's defensive oriented, and it allows for a great deal of aggression. And I mean, this is the guy who coined the term "safe as death." He wants you being aggressive all over, and you saw it last night. If you watch the third period, especially once they had that 1-0 lead, I mean, they just poured it on. And a lot of teams in the NHL, you get a 1-0 lead, especially in a big game like that, you're dumping the puck in deep, you're getting to the blue line, dumping it in deep, and retreating, and you're putting 4 guys standing up at the blue line preparing for the opposing team's attack. Well, that wasn't the case at all with Vegas last night, guys. They were still forechecking 2, sometimes 3 guys. They were all over them. They were hitting Colorado everywhere they were. They were beating them to pucks. They were fighting as if they were down by 1 goal and needed the score. So, and it ended up working out for them because they got one for themselves. And again, it was textbook hockey. You can't just sit back sometimes and let the other team dictate the style of play or the level of play. And that's what Vegas has done a great job of this year, in the playoffs at least. And since Torts came over, they've done a great job of dictating how the game is going to be played. It's going to be played on their terms. And again, when I talk about whether Carolina or Montreal ends up facing them in the Stanley Cup Final, that's something they're going to have to deal with, and something that the coaches are going to have to address. How are you going to turn it around and make Vegas play your style? How are you going to make them adjust to what you decide to do on the ice? So it's going to be hard to do, but at the end of the day, to me, it shapes up for a tremendous Stanley Cup Final, no matter who's there, whether it's Carolina, who a lot of people think is the best team in the East by far, or Montreal, which is going to have Marty St. Louis really feeling it as a coach now, with a young team of upstarts that a little bit ahead of schedule here, but still worthy of everything that they've achieved here in the playoffs as well. So it's shaping up to be a really good Stanley Cup Finals, guys.
Well, as I said, between periods, Messier, I thought, did a great job talking about, first of all, keeping people out on the point, not letting them come in, really taking over the front part of the ice. And really, because you're looking at a team that scored more goals through the regular season than any team in the National Hockey League, and you wouldn't know that they could even score if you watch those 4 games. I mean, they were just taken completely out of their game. We're going to Orlando right now. Roger, we thought, I don't want to speak for you. I know I did. I'll let you make your own comment. I thought when Tork came into Philadelphia to take over the Flyers that he was going to do the same thing and turn that franchise around. It didn't happen. He was fired, but boy, he certainly turned this one around.
Well, he did, and I know that when he took over the Flyers, there was a lot of question about him with a younger team. And listen, I think he did a really good job the first year. Evidently, they bought in. It was a lot different team then than it is now. My question is this like a one horse race with him at Las Vegas? Is he the kind of guy that can stay around, or is this he got them over the hump this year? He'll still be there next year, but is he a long-term fix for this franchise? Obviously, he was not for the Flyers, and look at the way they turned it around this year. Went on a run very similar to what you were talking about Las Vegas, Roy. With the run the last couple of months of the season.
It's a really good question, Roger. Whether Torts, I'll take the first question or the last question first. Whether Torts is a long-term stay there. I think certainly. I think some of that depends on whether they win the cup. I think if they don't win it, I think he might stick around. And if they do, I would think, okay, well, here's a guy now joined Scotty Bowman and Dick Irvin and maybe one other as the coaches who won a Stanley Cup with 2 different franchises. That's something. But you also just listening to him talk, it sounds like he feels so privileged and so honored to have been just asked to be a part of this organization that I think he probably would like to stay. I mean, look, coaches love to coach, and he's going on 70 years old, but he seems young, I think, to a lot of people. He has lost no fire at all. I think he's more than happy to go out there and prove himself yet again as one of the greatest coaches of all time, and I think he can do that. If he could maybe put together a couple of cup runs with Vegas. So let's see. But, going back to the Philadelphia experiment, I thought he was a good fit in Philly too, guys. I thought there were just enough veterans there at the time to get the young kids to buy into, what Torts demands of you. And again, it's not for everybody. But what's interesting is you look at some of the players, like Mishkov and those guys that had trouble with Torts, and they're having a little bit of trouble with the current organization too, with the current management and coaching staff as well. So maybe those are guys that are just going to have trouble no matter what. But at the end of the day, I thought he was a good fit in Philly. I thought the firing came a little bit too soon. I thought it was maybe poorly timed, but you know what? I'm not there on a regular daily basis either. If it was possible he was losing some of the young kids, some of the locker room, I can understand that. And if the idea, which it seems to have been, was to just basically get younger, then I think then probably Torts was probably a better fit somewhere else. But when they brought him in Philly, I thought it was a good fit. And in fact, look, I'll say this: I think Torts is a good fit anywhere. I thought he was a good fit with the Rangers. I thought he was a good fit with Columbus. And at the end of the day, it's really a matter of, can you get 25 guys to buy in to your system and your demands? And he's the demanding coach. But if you really want to win a Stanley Cup, you listen to this man. He'll get you there. There's no question. If you got the talent, he'll get you there, because he will put together a system that makes that talent shine in every third of the ice, guys, offensively, defensively, and in the neutral zone. He'll figure out a way to make it all work. So good for Torts. Really happy for him, and hope the run continues for him.
Well, let's go on the other side of the ledger right now, because the Hurricanes have been the dominant team in the National Hockey League over the last 3 or 4 years. And right now they've got their hands full. And when you talked about young players, Montreal has taken a group of young players and have really developed and improved as the season went along to get them into tonight's semifinal game. And